Hello, welcome everybody to the Weight Loss Explained workshop. Thanks for those who showed up tonight, and to all of those who are watching this later on, welcome and thank you. I'm really excited to teach you a few things, answer a few questions. I had so many questions at the beginning of my weight loss journey, which I'll go into shortly. But just as a quick rundown, this is what this is what we are going to be talking about. So as we go over the topics, we're going to cover a few things, of course, about how we gain weight, things that are going to hinder your results and things that are going to help you get back on track. But we'll go through lifestyle changes in your environment, calorie consumption, daily energy expenditure. We'll talk a bit about lifestyle and physical causes, as well as mindset, fuel systems, and then some exercise and diet hacks and things to help you set yourself up for success. Okay, a quick backstory. The whole reason that I'm doing this workshop, like I said, is because I had so many questions. So a few years back, it was about 2018 or 2017, I started to put on weight quite quickly. I wouldn't say I was obese or severely overweight, but I definitely went from a size 8 to almost a size 14. It just seemed to happen so fast for me, and it reached about the end of 2018, and I felt like I had been trying. There was times where I was training twice a day, and I got to the point where I was forcing myself to go to the gym. I was forcing myself not to eat, and I also just didn't know what I was eating and how much I was eating, why I wasn't getting results, and I was training hard. And I also just had, over time, my mental health or my self-respect, my self-confidence really, really diminished. And I started to really hate my body for what it was. So although I was training, I actually didn't receive a whole lot of support outside of those training sessions. And I just couldn't understand why I wasn't getting the results that I wanted, but I just didn't know where to start. I actually didn't know what to do to get results. So I am creating this workshop for those who feel stuck, who feel like they can't get results, who don't know where to start, who want to learn how weight loss works so they can get better results. I don't feel like it shouldn't be a hard topic, and it shouldn't be confusing or overwhelming, and it shouldn't be frustrating, but it's definitely not a quick fix, and it's definitely not a short-term answer. And I unfortunately don't have a magical pill that's going to get you those results, but it all does come down to hard work, but it is possible. I want you to know that it is possible. I reached a point where I thought it was impossible and I gave up on myself. So I want you to know that it's 100% is possible. The science is there and it backs it up. And there are women doing it all the time. So you're not alone in this journey. I've been there. I feel you and I see you. And I want to help you through this workshop. So please, if you do have questions along the way, put them in the comments, or if you have any questions before or after, if there's anything that I haven't covered or anything you're confused about, please contact me. I would love to hear from you, and I'd love to try and help you. So if there's anything that you feel is unclear, or there's something that I could add to this workshop for others, if there's any questions I missed, please let me know. Okay, quick disclaimer. I just have to put this in here. I'm not a doctor, I'm not a nutritionist, and I'm not a dietitian. I am a fitness trainer. I can't diagnose people with medical conditions, and I can't prescribe you with any dietary advice. The information in this workshop is just knowledge from my experience, my own research, my own studies and education. However, this information is constantly changing every single day in this industry, and every single body responds differently. So what's worked for me or others might not work necessarily for you, but I do want you to know that you can take away what you want from this workshop, and that this whole journey is going to be a massive experiment. So I encourage you to give things a go. I encourage you to take away what you think will work for you, of course. But as they say, if it doesn't work the first time, try again. But you also need to try again and do something different. So if what you've been doing isn't working for you, then maybe it's time to try something new. First section is on how we gain weight and why we gain weight. Okay, so how we gain weight. Weight gain is an energy imbalance between calories consumed and calories expended. So calories are just another name for energy that's being used by the body. It's just a label that people have put on this energy source that the body uses. They've just labeled it calories. And when we consume food, all our body does is it breaks it down and it tries its best to utilize it in any way possible as best it can for energy. So when you consume food, it takes all the nutrients out of it and tries to absorb as much as it can from that food, and then tries to use it for energy as best as it can. That's all it's doing, no matter whether it's a hot chip or it's a bowl of salad, it does the same process. So for example, if your body burns 1,800 calories a day, but you eat more than that on most days for a period of time, then you will gain weight. It doesn't happen overnight. It's a very slow process, but if you're eating more than you can burn daily and you're doing this for a period of time, you are going to see your weight fluctuate. But this is just how the body works. Okay, so we're going to just touch on, and I'll go through some of the more common reasons that we gain weight, and also a few things that have a pretty big impact on your health too. So of course there's overeating, but there's also undereating. Like I just said, if you're eating more than you can burn each day, your body is going to store that for energy and you're going to gain weight. But then there is also undereating. Starving yourself is not going to get you results, and trust me, I've done the 1200 calorie diets. I've tried eating less. You will end up plateauing and you will not end up in the physique shape that you're expecting. Not only that, the faster that you lose weight, or if you choose an unhealthy alternative like undereating or not eating, you are more likely to gain that weight pretty quickly, once you start returning back to normal life. And this is a big reason behind why a lot of these really short 6-8 week challenges, although you might get great results, it's really difficult to maintain, because your body is not designed to be in a calorie deficit or eating that little for a long period of time. You should only be doing that for a short amount of time, and then from there you should be going into a maintenance phase. This is something that I touch on far more in my programs, and something that I really want to teach my clients about more as well when it comes to maintenance and even a calorie surplus to help you build muscle, and how all of this plays a massive role in being able to maintain your weight. Then there's of course low muscle mass, like I just said. And when you have more muscle, your body's metabolism actually increases. So for those who think that doing 100 hours of cardio a week is the way to lose weight, I'm not going to say that, doing that is bad, but it's not going to get you the results that you want. And I don't think that you're going to be able to maintain it. If you decided to have a week off and you didn't go for a run every single day, or if you decided to, you had an injury and you had to start running, how do you expect your body to maintain the weight? What we'll touch on a little bit more as well is that what you're doing, you should be able to maintain, and that is, how do you maintain your weight? You shouldn't have to smash yourself 5 days at the gym or run every single day. It's far more than that. It's not about quick fixes. It's not about quick results. It's about getting results slowly, so that way you can actually maintain them for the rest of your life. Now, of course, the common things that affect your weight as well is the high intake of sugary and processed foods, the lack of good quality sleep. Yeah, it's all well and good to go to bed, shut your eyes and wake up in the morning, but you need to be getting into a deep REM sleep. And in this process, so much is happening. Your body does so much in sleep. It's really incredible, actually. But, this still takes energy. If you're having caffeine or alcohol or anything, any stimulant, even watching TV before bed, although you might be able to fall asleep, your brain is still going to be switched on. If you eat before bed, it's not going to cause you to gain weight, but it is going to cause your body to have a more restless sleep, because the digestion process takes such a long time that the body won't actually be able to do half the things that it needs to do in that sleep time. If you drink or have coffee, you might be able to fall asleep very quickly, but like I said, your brain is still stimulated. You're not getting a proper recovery sleep. Then there's, of course, the increased stress just from our day-to-day environments, from social media, from our workplaces, from our relationships. Then there's also underlying medical conditions and hormone imbalances. And mental health and mindset. So if you feel like you're not in a good place mentally, then this is going to affect it affects your emotion, which affects your actions, and your actions are a reflection of your body. So that goes to show that you're probably not making the right actions if you're wanting to lose weight. I've been there, I've done that, and I definitely ended up more unhappy when especially when I was forcing myself to take action in a negative mindset. So don't ever do anything at the expense of your mental health. Always, I just encourage you to focus on being happy first. And from just doing that, you will find that the rest just falls into place. Don't expect that when you lose the weight that you're going to be happy. Because if you're not happy right now with what you've got and everything that you have, what makes you think that this one thing is going to then completely change your life? You can start being happy right now before anything has even changed. And in order to make changes, you need to change your mindset. So you need to start seeing things differently. Something that I really wanted to cover as well for things that could be hindering, that could be affecting your weight, is your lifestyle and your environment. This is a huge one, and a lot of people don't seem to pick up on this, at first. So generally when you want to lose weight, you just start going to the gym and you start eating more salads. You try to eat less. That's the main thing that people try to do first, and it doesn't always work like that. Your occupation plays a huge role. Think about it for when you were kids. I know when I was a kid, I was definitely walking and moving a lot more at school. I was playing with friends. I was playing sports. I was outside. Overall, I spent less time still. And now many of us do have jobs where we sit 8 hours a day, or we just move a lot less. There's convenience. So obviously technology is great, but everything is now focused on being convenient. I can do a complete grocery shop from the comfort of my lounge. I can have dinner prepared and delivered to my front door, or I can simply go through a drive-through coffee shop, grab my morning coffee in my bathrobe. The convenience is great and it helps us when we're busy, but we shouldn't be relying on that convenience. Humans have survived years without any of this. So in this case, opting to cook your own meals is always going to be a better and healthier choice, because you never know what's in the food. Actually walking to get your coffee, like going for a nice morning walk, or even just going for a walk with friends rather than going out to eat, doing something more active rather than going out for convenience. And that ties me into the next one, the social aspect. So obviously as we get older, the social occasions tend to be more relaxed. So instead of going out and doing something active, especially when I was younger, I now rather sit down to a nice meal or have a drink. But even my holidays are more about relaxing and, not doing too much. I do like adventuring, but it's definitely a lot less energetic than it used to be. Then there's environment. So the people and places that you are surrounding yourself with are going to have an impact on your goals and whether you achieve them. The people you're around is who you will become, and they will become part of you. If your family lives an active life, then being active is going to be easier and it comes more naturally to you. If you've grown up doing sports and your whole family played sports, then doing sports is a no-brainer for you. But if you spend your time in pubs or you've never had an environment that encourages that kind of activity, well, you know that your lifestyle is going to look a lot different, and it's going to impact, I guess, the difficulty of making these changes. Okay, I quickly want to take you guys through this scenario, and this is something that I have done before, probably not exactly like this, but it is something that I have experienced. So starting at number 1. So I didn't have any food prepared, but I didn't have time in the morning to prepare anything. So I had to work without food. I'm tired and I'm just craving something for energy, which is usually caffeine or carbs. I then go and buy my caramel latte and ham cheese croissant for breakfast, but I get a chocolate chip cookie as well because I'm really hungry and I just want something to snack on at my desk. So as the day goes on, I'm exhausted when I get home. I'm so tired that I don't want to train. I then just decide to grab some snacks from the cupboard, sit down and have a glass of wine. After a few hours of then watching Netflix, I go to bed, but I stay up late on my phone. And then the next morning comes around and I wake up late because I'm tired. And obviously when my alarm goes off, I didn't want to get up. So I'm now stressed and rushing to work, and that cycle goes around again. I'm sure that it sounds maybe similar to what maybe you have been through, where, you've just had a big day, you get home, you're tired, you didn't prepare for the next day, and then it kind of goes around over and over again. And in other words, this is what the cycle is repeating. So you're feeling stressed and flat, so you're craving sugar, caffeine, or carbs for energy. When you're tired, you generally crave carbs and sugar or caffeine for energy. then you go and make an irrational but convenient decision based on how you feel rather than what your body needs. So you just get quick, convenient food because it's easy, it's no stress, it's a no-brainer, and it tastes good and it's satisfying your cravings in the short term. But that then leads to less vitamins and less nutrients. It means more processed foods and more sugars, which is only going to leave you feeling more tired, leave you feeling more drained. It's going to actually affect your gut health. So you have poor gut health, poor sleep, and poor brain function because your body is lacking in nutrients and you're filling it with sugar and processed carbs. You'll then, the cycle goes around again. You'll wake up feeling more tired. You'll lack more energy, drive, and focus. And the cycle keeps going. It just spirals downwards. And this quote on the left, what it's saying is, we aren't gaining weight because we're overeating. We overeat because we're gaining weight. I'm going to repeat that again. Listen to this. We aren't gaining weight because we are overeating. We are overeating because we're gaining weight. So once you start that cycle, it becomes really difficult to stop. And it's the same sort of principle applies to if you go out for dinner or you go out for breakfast or you have, you go out and you buy drinks or food. I know in myself that if I have a breakfast, lunch, or a dinner out, or I get takeaway, I instantly crave more takeaway. Like the next day I want to go out for breakfast, or if I've had breakfast and a coffee out, I'd rather go and buy lunch or buy something nice to eat. I get addicted to the yummy food. I get addicted to the convenience. I get addicted to the pretty food. I'm also a massive foodie, so I really enjoy having nice meals and nice food and having something different. I don't enjoy cooking that much. So to me, it seems like, it's something that I can quite easily do every single day, but I choose not to because once that cycle starts, not only is it spending a whole lot of money, but it's not good for my health, my energy, and my bank. Okay, so now moving on to what's hindering your results or what's causing you to plateau, or why can't you get results? Maybe you're training regularly or you're eating pretty well, but you're gaining weight and you're not sure why. Okay, a few reasons why you're not getting results could be that you're not eating enough protein or greens or just whole foods in general. You have minimal strength training in your routine, not enough sleep, poor gut health, living a sedentary lifestyle or have a sedentary job, which means you're not moving a lot. You're inconsistent with your training or your diet, which comes down to mindset. And then there's, of course, overeating or undereating calories, which I'll explain shortly. Really, the most common reason that you haven't been getting results usually is because you're simply not active enough. That's it. Which in turn then makes consuming too many calories quite easy, and it can go under the radar unnoticed. So training that 1 hour a day out of 12 hours is not enough for you to get the results that you want. And I think that training is really, really important to help you lose weight, to help you get closer to your goals. But it's what you do outside of training that really matters more. And there are studies that show that, participants who were leaner were more active during the day compared to those who worked out once a day but were less active daily. So that literally proves that, you don't even have to be training. You just have to be more active daily to be leaner. I have lived this personally, and I almost swear by it. I think that if anyone went from a desk job like I did, I used to sit down for maybe 8 hours a day, and I definitely reckon there was days where I didn't even get up to go to the toilet. I reckon there was times where I maybe just forced myself to go because I was so busy, so flat out. I was stressed, I was unhappy, and I would spend more time working than focusing on my own health. But then I went into a warehouse job. I just fell into it. Life happens for a reason. And I was so active in this job for 10 hours a day, 5 days a week. I was breaking a sweat multiple times a day. I was doing over 12,000 steps a day, which is very active. I was lifting heavy products, like 20 kilo products. I was carrying a lot of weight and just was it was like I was doing a lot of working out in short stints throughout the day. So I was very active, and that changed my physique. I started to lean down simply from doing that. I was also in this transition before that where I was in between jobs. I had no money. So what I did for my sanity was I went out for really long walks. I went to the beach. I didn't buy food out because I was on a really strict budget. So I'd pack a little bit of food, just snacks with me. And I'd spend most of my days walking around the coast. So instead of sitting down to eat, instead of sitting at a desk, I started walking more, eating less, but also eating better because I wasn't eating out. So I was eating a lot more veggies. I would snack on raw carrots instead of going to buy snacks out. I'd snack on apples and fruit and things like that. But then, this physical job changed my physique. And then I also started training on top of that with the goal of being stronger. And I can guarantee that almost anyone would reap similar benefits from doing this. If you are active, very active throughout the day, think about being active 24/7. Sounds full on, but it could be as simple as just moving throughout the house, getting up from your desk, doing the chores, playing with the kids, going for a walk, doing more active socializing. There's so many other ways to be moving your body. That's not exactly exercise, but just moving it is where you might be going wrong. And I just wish somebody had told me that. I can sit at a desk or I can sit in my car for 10 hours a day and I can train for 1 hour and wonder why I'm not getting results. And no one told me that simply being more active outside of this training session is what's going to help you. These are a few more things that will affect your results as well. So when it comes to not being able to get results, it could have something to do with your strength training. So there's so many benefits to strength training. It's not what you think it is. And you should want to feel strong, especially as a woman. I know I do. And for so many reasons, but also for my future self, I want to be able to get up and down the ground. I want to be able to do the groceries in one trip. I want to be able to sit up and stand up. I don't want to worry about falling over and injuring myself. So there are so many reasons that women especially should be doing strength training. But just for this example, what I'm talking about is specifically building muscle. And one of the biggest keys to even longevity, to live a long, healthy, happy life, is actually muscle mass as well. So muscle is essential if you want to increase your BMR, or your daily calorie expenditure, which I'm about to explain to you. But in essence, it means that you can eat more calories and not gain weight. Then there's, of course, gut health. This is huge. I reckon I could do a whole topic on gut health. Like I said, I'm not a nutritionist or naturopath or anyone that specializes in this, but I have suffered so much from, gut health issues that it is something that I need everyone here watching this to take seriously. Eating foods that you react to is going to affect your performance, your energy, your gut health, your bowel movements. It's going to cause pain, discomfort. And it also means that you might not properly be absorbing nutrients from the food that you're eating because it's doing more harm than it is doing good. If you're lacking in nutrients, then your body is not going to function optimally, and neither will your brain. Now, when I discovered this, I was eating gluten at the time and I was eating cheese. I knew I was lactose intolerant. I wasn't that bad, but I knew I would suffer from it. And I was eating gluten, wondering why I was so tired. A few people come to me and they are tired, they're yawning, they're napping, they're exhausted, they wake up tired. And I want you to know that this is not normal. I can go a whole day, I can go past 2 p.m. and not feel tired. This is all through diet. If you are constantly feeling tired or slow or lethargic, you have brain fog, you feel like you can't concentrate at work, looking at a screen is just like, no matter how many times you read that sentence, it's just not sinking in. Check your diet, and I highly recommend just trying to go gluten-free for a couple of days. I encourage this because you'd be surprised at how good you can feel. Gluten's in your system for at least 24 hours. Like, you need to be doing it for more than 1 day or 2 days. You need to know how it feels without gluten in your system. And then if you go and have a piece of toast or a bowl of pasta, you might start to feel super exhausted, super tired. You might even want to go and nap. And if that's the case, that means you're gluten intolerant, or worse, you could be, if you have worse symptoms, you feel really sick, you could be celiac, which is something that you really need to go see a doctor for, because it's going to make you quite sick and harm you even more. But eating foods that you react to is going to affect your energy, because it's affecting your gut. If you affect your gut, you affect your immune system, and your immune system, when that's fired up, like when you get sick, you're going to have no energy. When you've got some discomfort going on in your stomach, You'll also notice that, you might get gas, bloating, or cramps from eating something bad, but you will feel more tired purely because your body is working double time, like, to try and fix the issue. So gut health is super important. It's the center of everything. It's connected to your brain. Food that you put in there will affect your brain. If I have too much sugar, or if I have gluten or if I go out drinking, the next day, genuinely, my mental health is worse. I feel less motivated. I have less energy. I feel less happy. I have a low libido. It affects my mindset massively, and it is really hard for me to show up for my relationship, my family, my clients, and in my business if I am eating foods that are affecting my mindset or affecting my energy. So I choose to eat just whole foods. Think about foods that you could, pick off a tree or grow in the ground. There's so much I can talk about gut health, but I'm going to move on. So protein and greens, keeping it simple. So we just simply don't get enough protein or greens in our diet, and protein is essential for so many functions in our body. The most common one being building muscle, that we know. It's also for repairing muscle as well. So it actually just helps build and repair any tissue in the body, which can include your skin. But again, if your body's not getting the nutrients it needs to build muscle, then you're most likely going to be burning more muscle than you can grow. And then, of course, greens are just full of nutrients. They're nutrient dense and super low in calories, so you can't really overeat them. But they give you energy, and they're high in fiber, and they're great for your gut health. So they are going to make you feel good. Anything green, it could be veggies or salad, and I encourage you to get a mixture of both in your diet. And if you don't like them, well, then you need to be finding a way to make them interesting, or find a way to hide them in things, like mash them in your veggies, or add it to your omelette. Cooking spinach in pasta, or adding greens to your nachos. Like, it's not that hard. Just hide them in the foods that you already enjoy, or try and include them as much as you can. And then there's consistency. So why can't you stay consistent? I really struggled to do this, and I was really disappointed, really guilty, felt a lot of shame, and lacked self-confidence every time I seemed to have failed myself because I couldn't stay on track. But did you ever stop to think that maybe what you're doing is just simply not sustainable for you? Everyone knows that you need to be consistent with training and diet for a period of time in order to see change. But look at your consistency over 1 year rather than 2 weeks or 8 weeks. And if you see more of those green ticks than you do red dots, then you're on the right track. It's about how you spend the majority of your time for a long period of time. It's not about, in this month I had 2 weeks off and I went on a holiday. It's about, over this whole year, I had this many days off and I was consistent for this many days. So start looking at the bigger picture. You will never have a perfect 12 weeks. You'll probably never have a perfect 8 weeks. So don't expect to be perfect for a period of time. Things are going to happen. Life's going to come up. Family's going to happen. Holidays, work, COVID, things will happen. And they're going to throw you off track. It's not the end of the world. The end of the world is far worse. But the best thing that you can do is just try again. Just keep going. When you can get back on track, or find an alternative. Like, if you can't go to the gym because COVID lockdown, well, then go for a walk. Go do your home workouts. Look up a YouTube workout. It comes down to adapting to your environment, but also realizing that this is only a couple of days or a short amount of time out of a whole year. Okay, let's talk hunters and gatherers. This is going to lead me into the next session, but what I really wanted to show you guys this because it's quite incredible. But so one of the last known traditional tribes that are hunting and gathering is in Africa. So since they still forage for food and they still hunt for their food, they obviously eat less than we do and less often, and their foods are usually seasonal, depending on the season, right? So of course, being the unique culture that they are, there has been many studies done on them, and one was energy expenditure. So the men in these tribes spend hours and days on their feet running and hunting for food, but they do not expend any more energy than the average man living here in Australia. So how can they be so physically active for hours on end, yet burn the same amount of energy as we do in one day? It's because their bodies have adapted. And the reason that I'm telling you this is because if you're trying to eat less and you are living in a calorie deficit, or you're living in a state where you're dieting all year round, well, then just like these guys, your body is actually going to adapt and it is not going to have any impact on your body. Your body will start to ration out its energy supplies. Your metabolism quite literally slows down. Now, that doesn't mean you're broken. That doesn't mean you can't fix it. It doesn't mean that, your metabolism's ruined. You can fix it. And it's called reverse dieting. And it's about getting you back to your maintenance phase. So it's about increasing your calories and letting your body know that it's okay to eat these calories, that it doesn't have to be scared that, it's not going to have food for a long period of time. It doesn't need to ration it out anymore. Okay, let's talk hunters and gatherers. This is going to lead me into the next session, but what I really wanted to show you guys this because it's quite incredible. So one of the last known traditional tribes that are hunting and gathering is in Africa. So since they still forage for food and they still hunt for their food, they obviously eat less than we do and less often, and their foods are usually seasonal, depending on the season, right? So of course, being the unique culture that they are, there has been many studies done on them. And one was energy expenditure. So the men in these tribes spend hours and days on their feet running and hunting for food, but they do not expend any more energy than the average man living here in Australia. So how can they be so physically active for hours on end, yet burn the same amount of energy as we do in one day? It's because their bodies have adapted. And the reason that I'm telling you this is because if you're trying to eat less and you are living in a calorie deficit, or you're living in a state where you're dieting all year round, well, then just like these guys, your body is actually going to adapt and it is not going to have any impact on your body. Your body will start to ration out its energy supplies. Your metabolism quite literally slows down. Now, that doesn't mean you're broken. That doesn't mean you can't fix it. It doesn't mean that, your metabolism's ruined. You can fix it. And it's called reverse dieting. And it's about getting you back to your maintenance phase. So it's about increasing your calories and letting your body know that it's okay to eat these calories, that it doesn't have to be scared that, it's not going to have food for a long period of time. It doesn't need to ration it out anymore. So if you have that pen and paper, I want you to draw a circle. Once you've drawn that circle, we're actually going to divide it up. If you imagine this as a very large pie, you're going to cut it into a few pieces. So the first piece is going to be 70%, whatever that looks like to you. And then with the remaining 30% of that pie, you're going to cut that in half. So you'll have two 15% pieces, and then divide one of those sections into 10% and 5%. So all up, you should have a big chunk, that's 70% of the pie, 15%, a 10%, and a small 5% piece. Just wait for you guys to do that. Now that it's divided, I'm actually going to get you to label it. So label the big 70% piece BMR. This is for basal metabolic rate. Then I want you to label the 15% section NEAT, non-exercise activity thermogenesis, which I'll explain these to you in a second. Then the next 10% piece is TEF for thermogenic effect of food. And then the 5% is TEE, thermogenic effect of exercise. So once you've got that written out and labeled, I'll quickly run through them. So your BMR is your basal metabolic rate, and this is out of your total daily calories, 70% of your calories goes to your BMR, your basal metabolic rate. And this is just for human bodily functions, just for you to be alive, for your brain to function, for your heart to beat, for your lungs to work. So you burn 70% of your daily calories before you've even gotten out of bed. Then you have NEAT, which is non-exercise activity thermogenesis. Pretty much sounds the way it is what it sounds. It's non-exercise activity. So this is when you get out of bed and you start moving. You go to work, you do the cooking, you do the cleaning, you chase after the kids, get in and out of the car. It's just daily movement. It's just moving your body, but not planned exercise. Then TEF is thermogenic effect of food. This is a really incredible process, because what it actually means is that you burn calories from eating. So the digestion process is a really large process. If you think about it, it starts from saliva to then excreting at the other end. And some foods actually take more energy to break down than others. For example, protein has a higher thermogenic effect, which means it's just harder to break down, which means it takes more energy, or you burn more calories just eating protein, which is, your meats and your steaks and stuff like that. Then there's TEE, that little 5% is thermogenic effect of exercise. And yes, out of your whole day, 5% of your calories is burnt through exercise. And this is planned exercise. So just as an example, an average woman's BMR could be around 1,300 to 1,500 calories a day. That's just the BMR. That's just for your body to function without you even getting out of bed. If you laid in bed all day, that's how many calories you would burn. Now, this is important for me to highlight, because I've done 1,200 calorie diets thinking I needed to lose weight, eating less. I've tried not eating. So if I'm not eating enough for my body to simply do its bodily functions, how do you think I'm going to feel? Probably not very good. The reason that I needed to explain that to you is because we're touching on calorie consumption, and I want to explain how eating not enough can affect your results. So we know how eating too much food can make you gain weight. Your body has a set amount of calories it requires every single day to function for energy. If you consume more than you burn, it's going to be stored somewhere. That's fact. That's what your body does. So how do you know when you're eating too much? Well, you don't actually. So really, you need to be tracking your calories. And unless you know how to calculate your calories, or you can seek help from a health professional that can do it for you, there's not really any way knowing. Personally, for my clients and myself, I can show you how to calculate calories. I get them to do a body scan, which gives them their BMR, which is a really nice, neat number. Again, it's just more like it's not going to be a pinpoint exact number, but it is very, very close, and it helps guide you in the right direction. As a personal trainer, I can't medically prescribe anyone with nutrition plans, but I can educate you all on, and all my clients, on food and healthy meals and snack choices and appropriate serving sizes, and how to actually calculate your calories, and how to track, how to meal plan, and how to do all of those things in order to help you get results. I don't really think that you don't have to track your calories forever, but I definitely think that it is essential for you to learn what you're eating. Now, not eating enough food, like we've just gone through, your body has a set amount of calories that it requires each day to function for energy. But if you don't consume enough calories, then your body and your mind is not going to be functioning well. So when you undereat, you're just inadequately fueling your body. And it's kind of like driving your car with the red petrol light on 24/7. It's not really going to run that well. When you aren't fueling your body well, your body doesn't function well. Not only are you not just getting enough, you're not getting enough vitamins or nutrients that your body actually needs to function, but you're not going to feel good. You're going to feel lethargic. You might lack focus and have brain fog as well. You'll be tired, you'll be feeling moody and emotional. You might have low libido, you'll feel weak, but also your performance and training is going to decrease, and your muscle breakdown will probably increase. We'll talk about muscle breakdown soon. If you're not eating enough, your body will adapt. So you don't want to be lowering and lowering and lowering your calories. You're setting the bar lower and lower and lower every single time you do this. Your body is just going to adapt to it. Remember that African tribe, they eat half of what we do, and they're 3 times more active than we are, yet they burn the same amount of calories daily. They expend the same energy because their body has adapted. If you want to be able to eat more without gaining weight, you need to stop living in a calorie deficit, stop dieting. And I'll teach you a few things in a sec. This leads me into the body's fuel systems. I've tried to keep this super simple. There is far more to it than this, but keeping it short and sweet. Your body has kind of three options of fuel. So what it burns for energy. You've got glycogen from carbs and sugars that you eat, and then you've got glycogen from muscle, and then you've got fats, which is your stored energy. So glycogen, this one comes from carbs and sugars, but also from your muscle. It is a fast and an efficient fuel for energy, your body's preferred source of energy. You can find it in the liver and in the bloodstream, but the largest reservoir is actually in your muscle. So it is basically sugar or glucose from carbohydrates. So carbohydrates are anything from fruit and veg and salads to sugars and chocolates and packet foods and pastas and breads and stuff like that. So it's stored in the liver and in the muscle, but it's also found in the bloodstream. It uses up the glucose or the glycogen that's in the bloodstream, but if that's not available, the body will turn to its other glycogen stores instead. So it'll use up all the convenient one, which is if it's already in the bloodstream and ready to go, it'll use that. But if it's not available, if you've burnt all of that, maybe because you haven't eaten in a while and you're doing some exercise or you're doing strenuous exercise, which demands more energy, your body's going to turn to its second fuel source. So I want you to think of it, glycogen, it's fast burning fuel, but it has two fuel tanks. So if you imagine a car, like a performance car, it's got your main tank. And in this case, that would be the glycogen stores in the liver and the bloodstream. But then it's got its backup tank, which is your muscle. So once you run out of that first tank, it'll tap into the second one. But now we've also got fats. So fats can be burnt as energy, but it is a slow burning fuel. It's kind of like a drip fed fuel. You can't spot reduce fat. I need to make this clear. You can't pick where you gain weight. So there is no possible way to pick where you want to burn it off either. It comes down to metabolic flexibility, which means that your body is actually able to adapt to using different fuel sources. Your body does have the option to swap between the two, but the body no longer will need to turn to fat for fuel if we're always consuming food. If glycogen is always in our bloodstream and always available, why would it ever need to go to any backup fuel stores? It prefers glycogen. It's the preferred fuel source. It's what it would like to use instead. So fat being that slow burning fuel, it's actually not really suitable as energy for anything high intensity or strenuous exercise that's going to really elevate the heart rate and elevate your breathing. So optimal fat burning actually happens when you reach about 70% of your max heart rate, thereabouts. Correct me if I'm wrong. I'm not sure if the data has changed since then, but from my knowledge, it's around 70% of your max heart rate. So for example, this could be, doing those hill walks or walking upstairs where your heart rate and breathing has increased, but you're not completely smashed or out of breath. As an example here, if your maximum heart rate is 200 beats a minute, then 70% of that would be at 140 beats a minute. And I know my watch seems to think it knows where my max heart rate is. So if my max heart rate is actually close to 200 beats a minute, the healthier and fitter you are, the higher your max heart rate will be. And also at resting, the lower your heart rate actually is. So if you have a slow heart rate, it's usually not a bad thing. It means that you're quite fit because obviously it takes far more for it to elevate. But yeah, if it's around 200, you need to be getting your heart rate up to around 140 beats a minute. So it's a lot, but it's not so much that you're absolutely you're doing high intensity training. It'd probably be like a light jog and you stop before it becomes too hard. There is a lot more on fuel systems, but it goes quite in depth. This is a lot of the stuff that I do teach my clients about. I want them to understand how it works and how to tap into those systems. So you can even do your own research on metabolic flexibility, and that'll explain hopefully a bit more about, how to switch between using fat and glycogen as fuel. Now, moving on to lifestyle and identity change. There's this great quote from Atomic Habits by James Clear, and it is one thing to say that you're trying to quit smoking, but it's another thing to say that you're not a smoker. So if you're wanting to create new habits or make a change, you also need to be changing your lifestyle and changing your identity. So if you are trying to quit smoking, simply by saying that you're trying to quit smoking is identifying yourself as a smoker that wants to stop. If you tell yourself you're not a smoker, then you identify as somebody who does not smoke. So that comes down to your belief systems, the way that you speak to yourself. Well, what does the fit and healthy version of you look like? Have you ever envisioned it? When you reach your goal, what does that look like? What does she wear? How does she stand? How does she look? And where does she hang out? Who does she hang out with? What are her habits? You need to get really clear on what you want your lifestyle to look like and then start living it. You can't say that you want to live an active life, but then party every weekend and then use the whole week to rest and recover. You can't say that you want to lose weight, but then also tell yourself that you don't have time to exercise or prioritize grocery shopping and meal prepping or just prioritize your health in general. You need to make a change. What you're doing right now is not working for you. So what needs to change? It comes down to how you live your life. But it also comes down to who you identify as. So do you use words like lazy, or do you describe yourself as having no discipline? Do you say that you hate exercising? Or what do you say to yourself when you see yourself in the mirror? How do you expect to change your life if you're bullying yourself and tearing down your self-confidence? It's like you're setting yourself up for failure. You already believe that you can't do it. The words that you use and the way that you speak to yourself will impact how you feel, and therefore that will impact the actions you take. Every action you take is based off an emotion. Whether you're chasing an emotion or whether you're feeling an emotion, you will make actions in accordance to that. If you're feeling tired, upset, stressed, or any negative emotion, you are more likely to make an irrational choice. For example, if I was going out to eat and I was in a bad mood, I'm going to want to pick a high carb or high sugar or a treat or something yummy to eat because I want to feel good. If I'm feeling crap, I'm not going to want to train. So your actions are impacted by your emotions. And if you're always feeling crappy about yourself, how are you meant to make positive actions from that? You do not need to hit rock bottom breaking point in order to make a change. You just need to decide right now that you've had enough and that you are going to make a change. Okay, I'm really going to have to start wrapping this up, but let's quickly move on to tips for helping you get results or where to begin. So how do you lose weight? The big question that we all want to know, and this is probably my number one question. I just wanted to know, how do you lose weight? So let's talk about that. I'll give you a few pointers as to, what I think you could do. Like I said, everybody's different though. So firstly, if you want to lose fat, you're going to need to provide your body with less energy than what is required for it to maintain that weight, e.g. through diet or exercise, and you need to find out what works best for you. So the best way, so let me take it back. So what I mean by this is that if you're eating 2,000 calories a day, you can either choose to eat a few hundred calories less, or you can choose to actually do a little bit more exercise and burn more calories. So instead of having 1,800 calories a day, you could choose to do a few more walks or add in an extra workout. And I want you to kind of see your calories as a weekly budget. So you have a week to spend them. Some days you might spend more, some days you might spend less, but as long as you're sticking within the budget, you're overall, over a period of time, it's going to be fine. Now you need to find out what works best for you, but it also, if you don't know how to calculate your calories, if you feel intimidated or don't even know where to begin with tracking your calories, if you don't know where to begin with training, then you're going to need to get help. Just get some support, temporary support, so that you can learn these things. So look for a trainer or a nutritionist or a naturopath or someone in the health industry that's going to be able to help you work through all this. There's also a ton of YouTube videos. You can start with home workouts, and there's also YouTube videos on how you should track your calories. as well. In regards to how many calories you're eating, you're just going to have to start tracking them. I use MyFitnessPal. There's more out there, but MyFitnessPal is such a generic one. You've just got to start learning to read labels. But also with MyFitnessPal, you can scan the barcode of items and it tells you how much is in one serve of that food. How do you know what one serve is? Well, it tells you on the packet, but you're going to need to weigh it because it could be like 20 grams is this many calories and that's one serve. So you're actually going to need to start weighing food, tracking your food, and it can seem overwhelming at first. It does take more effort. I'm not going to lie. It takes effort, but the amount of information that you learn from this, you learn so much about food. It's super eye-opening to see what you're eating and how many calories you're eating. It's also just super eye-opening from a food diary perspective to see what's not in your diet or what you're having too much of. It's really, really insightful. And I guide my clients through all of these things, especially in the Regain and Rebuild program. I'll be popping in a video shortly of how to track your calories and how to create a meal plan for yourself. Number 2, change your mindset. I've mentioned this a few times already because, well, it all starts with how you think. So you need to change the way you think about yourself and your goals. I know that you want immediate changes right now because you're unhappy with your body, but that's not how it works. It's all well and good to want more, to be working towards something better for yourself, but you also need to accept and come to terms with who you are right now. It's not a bad thing. You're still amazing the way that you are, and people love you for who you are and how you look. So if your goal is driven by, like mine was, that you were worried about what other people thought of you, do you want to lose weight because you're scared of being judged by others? Are you worried that people are going to judge you, but then they're not going to like you because of how you look? Is that what it comes down to? Because why does that really matter? And this again is there's something a lot deeper there. There's a reason behind why you want this. At the end of the day, we are searching for a feeling. It's not just the physical weight that we want to lose. It's actually this weight that's on our shoulders and in our mind. Imagine how much space, time, energy, and just how much of a relief it would be if you didn't have to worry about this daily, if you didn't have to worry about how you looked. Imagine how much happier you would be. Now, you can choose to be happy right now, but you do need to change your mindset. You need to change your perspective on what this is going to look like for you, because it's not a short-term fix. This is something you're doing for life. This is a long-term, forever thing. How can you be active every day? How can you look after your health every day? How can you maintain your weight every day? Now, I'm not saying, like, if I go on a 6-week holiday to Europe, I'm probably going to eat my way through Europe, and I'm not going to worry a whole lot about it. But if I can be active on that holiday, I can counteract some of that and then worry about it when I get back. I also know how to maintain my weight. I know when I'm eating too much. I know when I haven't had enough protein. I know when I haven't had enough greens. I know when I haven't eaten enough in general, when I feel tired or when I feel emotional or lethargic or low libido and my energy is drained and my lust for life is gone. I know that it's to do with my diet. And that is all from just tracking what I eat and paying attention and bringing self-awareness. And that's just how I've been able to maintain my weight for a number of years now. And this is all a learning experience. It's not one size fits all. You're not going to find the magic cure right away. And this is why I say allow 2 years at least, because it is such an experiment and you're going to learn along the way. So stop setting yourself up for failure by expecting immediate results and then smashing yourself for 2 weeks and wondering why you're tired. Think about long-term, the overall trajectory of a year. You want to be consistent more days than you have off. This is something that we go a lot deeper on in the Regain and Rebuild program too. And I guess it's why I'm putting it in here, because we need to be coached on this. I wasn't taught about this. I expected immediate results and I wasn't taught. So it's a really big part of my programming is mindset. Number 3, increase your muscle mass. So muscle is a metabolically expensive tissue. You will have a higher total daily energy expenditure. So that pie chart we did, that will increase, and it will be harder for you to gain fat compared to when you had less muscle. Muscle is the key to maintaining your weight. Not only that, muscle is a really big factor in longevity. So if you want to live a long, healthy life, you're going to need muscle for that. It goes back to ancient cultures where they are active every day. They're also physically active every day, using their muscles, squatting up and down, carrying things every day. And they're some of the oldest people in the world, and they're still moving. You shouldn't have to lose those abilities. Muscle plays a huge part in that. It plays a huge part in mental health too. But think of your muscle in very simple terms. Think of your muscle as your metabolism. The more muscle you have, the better your metabolism is. That means that you can eat more and not gain weight. It means that you actually burn more calories doing nothing. So you want to be increasing your muscle. And in order to do that, you need to be doing strength training. You need to add weights in there somewhere. And you need to be focusing on your nutrition and your diet. So eat enough and include protein and greens. Number 4 is increase your activity. I've probably mentioned this multiple times, and to everybody I know, standing, walking more, do exercises that you can do and you like to do, and do ones that you know you can maintain. You try to be active on most days, and try to be active like 24/7. Even your rest days can be active, like doing chores at home or going for walks or playing with the kids. There are other ways to be active. The main point is to be moving your body as much as you can. Even an active rest day could look like doing some yoga stretches. At least you're doing something. But from my story, I guarantee you, if you focused on being active throughout the day as much as you can, not only will you sleep better and you'll feel better the next day, you'll actually increase your energy, but you'll also see better results. Now, another one is increasing your protein. So when you're hungry, you snack more and you're going to crave more sugars and carbs. So it's better that you actually fill up on decent sized, nutritious meals rather than small little snacks. And protein will help you grow muscle, but it actually will leave you feeling fuller for longer. So protein has one of the highest satiety levels of all food, and it takes more energy to break down and digest. So if you are training regularly, maybe 3 days a week, if you're doing intense training of any kind, I encourage you to aim for over 100 grams of protein a day. I would actually recommend 120 grams of protein per day. The only way you're going to know this is actually by tracking, weighing how much protein you're having, and then adding it into a tracker of some kind. So, for example, a standard protein shake could range, if you're going for vegan options, it could be about 20 grams. And then there's some whey-based proteins that can have 30 grams of protein per serve. So obviously you need to be getting your protein from real food as well, but just as an example, you would need to have 5 protein shakes a day in order to get to 100 grams. So it does mean that you're going to need to be actively looking for foods with high in protein, including meat or protein, vegan protein options in your diet, things like meat, eggs, lentils. There is lots of greens and tofus, edamame, protein shakes, and other things like that. The reason you want to increase your protein is to increase your muscle, and it also will help give you energy and make you feel fuller for longer. And then number 6 is surround yourself with people that encourage you to eat better and to be active, join classes as well, and spend time in places that are aligned with your goals. You need to start changing your lifestyle and your environment as well as your identity. So if you're living a life that's completely opposite to what you want, well, it's going to be very difficult to reach the results that you want. So I want you to focus on doing things that are going to be aligned with that, doing more active catch-ups, socializing with people who are already doing what you're doing, and that will encourage you to then obviously be more active and live that lifestyle too. Number 7, stop rushing it. I know this is really hard, and I know exactly how you feel. You just want it so bad, but you can't rush it. It just doesn't help. It makes you feel stressed. It's unnecessary pressure on yourself, and you're more likely to give up and stop and yo-yo if you think that you need to be getting results within 2 weeks or 8 weeks. Give yourself 2 years to reach your goals. You allow that first year to learn, to practice, to get experience, to meet new people, and then allow the second year for it to actually become more of a habit, to become more of a regular thing. You'll be more confident, you'll be more comfortable, and things become really familiar. Lastly, number 8, change your goal from short-term results-based to long-term action-based. So what I mean by this is, instead of saying in 8 weeks, I want to lose this much weight, and focusing on the results in a short amount of time. I want you to focus on the long term. So what is your long-term goal? What's the goal for older you? What is your lifelong health goal? If you could sit down with a retired version, future self, say like 50 years from now, what would she be grateful for, or what would she regret not doing sooner? I know that I don't want to be in a nursing home. I don't want to be relying on others to help me get around. I don't want to be sick or injured or suffering from arthritis and having pain in my body. I don't want dementia or any mental illnesses. I just really want to be able to still live my life when I'm retired. I've got all the time in the world when I retire, and then I can't live my life. That would be awful. That being able to get up and down off the ground and being able to move. I had a back injury, and putting my shoes on was painful, and I really struggled to do simple tasks like bending over, even in the slightest, and sitting down. Sleeping became painful. So all of these little things I took for granted, and that is something that I do not want taken away from me again. My life, that is my lifelong goal, and my long-term goal is just to stay fit and healthy, to keep growing and increasing my muscle mass, or maintaining it, maintaining my body weight as well. But then there's also a whole mindset side to that. My number one priority is to be happy, and it is to feel good. And if that means that I need to push through and do a workout when I don't want to, because I know that it's going to benefit me that day, the next day, or the week after, then I'm going to do that because that's what makes me feel good. If that means avoiding gluten, well, then I'm going to avoid gluten because it makes me feel good. Focus on your actions. So focus on showing up. Focus on how many pull-ups can you do. Focus on your performance. Focus on lifting heavier, going faster, being fitter. Have your set mini goals that are performance-based, like your push-ups, your squats, or your speed. And then also your actions. So this comes into habits. So showing up for yourself 3 times a week. By that, I mean doing something aligned with your goals, doing something that's going to make you feel good, and doing something that's going to benefit you and your health. Showing up for you because you know you need to. Nobody else is going to do it for you. So showing up could be meal prepping your food, actually planning healthy meals, not spending your money on food out, doing your stretches, showing up to classes, or doing your home workouts, investing in a coach, or it could be as simple as booking all the appointments that you need to, calling up the insurance companies, doing your household chores. That all counts as showing up, and over time, you're building habits. So focus on going to the gym 3 days a week, and when you've nailed that and that's become more of a habit for you, sweet, you can increase that. When you've nailed 10K steps 3 days a week, 10,000 steps 4 days a week, increase it from there. Focus on your long-term action-based goals. Alrighty, setting yourself up for success. This was taken kind of from my Regain and Rebuild program because it was so eye-opening for so many of my clients that I'm popping it in tonight's workshop, and for those at home watching this. So if you haven't done this already, it comes down to goal setting, planning and preparing. So getting really clear on your goals. Have you actually ever gotten into detail with your goals, or you just have a rough idea of what you're wanting? For example, lose weight by this date. So what is your goal? It could be to lose weight. Then you got to get really specific. If you can set dates and numbers, do that, but they need to be really achievable. Don't set yourself up for failure. So losing anything more than 1 kilo a week is actually not recommended, and it's very, very difficult to lose 1 kilo a week. But I want you to know that it's actually unhealthy to lose more than that per week, and the faster you lose weight, the more likely that faster you're going to put it back on. The key to maintaining it as well is actually slowly losing the weight. You need to know why it's important to you. Why does it matter? You need to find the core reason to that. So you're going to keep asking that question over and over again until you find the seed in the middle. For me, it came down to, I want to lose weight because I want it to look good. Why do I want to look good? So I can feel good. Why do I want to feel good? Well, I can start feeling good right now. So if I change my mindset, I can start feeling good. That's not the reason. So why do I want to look good? It's to impress other people because I'm scared of other people judging me, because if they judge me, it means they don't like me, and I'm worried about not being liked. So it comes down to that deep human instinct of wanting to be loved and being a part of a community and being liked by others. That's what it came down to. But that was not a big enough reason for me to get results. And if you're wondering why you can't stay on track, it comes down to your purpose. It comes down to your reason why. If you find that you're on and off all the time, you can't stick to it, it's because you actually don't want it bad enough, because your reason doesn't mean enough to you. A really crude way to put it was, I heard somewhere that, if someone had a gun pointed to your head and said that you had to do this, you had to achieve results or you're going to die. It's the same way as saying, imagine if a doctor told you that you have this long to live unless you do something about it. Would you all of a sudden make it a priority? Would you then, would it matter to you then to take action and make time for it? Would your health come before work? Would your health come before Netflix? Think about it from that perspective. Why is it important to you? Because you need a really big reason, and it needs to make you serious. It needs to make you really honestly believe it. It needs to make you feel something. Once you find that, that's going to help you stay consistent. So what is your lifelong purpose? It can't just be the short-term purpose. We're all searching for a feeling at the end of the day, and that's a feeling, to feel good, to feel happy, to feel confident, to feel sexy. So what can you do as well? This is a little bit off topic, but what can you do as well to feel that way? Do things that make you happy, that make you feel confident. Now, bringing me back to what is your lifelong purpose? So to me, I genuinely want to be able to get up and down off the ground and walk and travel and go outside. I just want to be able to do things when I'm older. I don't want to sit there when I'm 70 years old and regret not looking after my health. If I could sit next to her, my older version of myself right now, I would want her to be proud and grateful for everything that she's done, because I don't want to have those silly regrets when I'm older. It might be to, keep up with your kids as they grow up. You want to feel good as you age. You want to be mobile. You want to be happy and active. You live life without disease and illness. What is the long-term benefits and the purpose for you from this goal? What is it going to give you? Because remember, this is a long-term goal. It's not short-term. You need to list your smaller goals as well. So remember your performance and your actions. It could be as simple as every Monday I create a shopping list. Every Tuesday I do the grocery shopping. Every Wednesday I do some meal prepping, or I cook a few meals. I do meal prepping on a Wednesday and I do meal prepping on a Saturday or Sunday. It could also be, I want to be able to do 10 push-ups. I want to be able to do a 40-kilo squat. Focus on the performance-based things and the actions and the habits that come along with it. Focus on creating a habit, establishing a habit of just showing up, of just going to the gym, of just buying your food. Start really small. Start with small goals that you can take action on and that you can judge your performance on. And that's how you're going to track your progress to start with. Then get very, very clear and envision what you are going to look and feel like when you achieve your goal. Really try to create those emotions and those feelings in real life and do this. So imagine that your success every time you feel unmotivated or that you have any self-doubt. Imagine yourself in the future. Maybe you're out somewhere and you look amazing. Maybe you're standing in the mirror looking at yourself smiling. Whatever it is to you, it's going to be different for everybody. Imagine how you look, feel. Are you smiling? Are you proud? Like, what is that sensation? I've got goosebumps just imagining what I would look like when I feel the best version of myself. I'm yet to still meet her. So get very clear on what that looks like and use that vision and that feeling of emotion and determination and pride. Use that when you are lacking confidence or lacking motivation. Because trust me, you will lack motivation. Motivation doesn't stick around. Next up is creating an action plan. So you know your goal, you've gotten really clear on what you want, you got clear on the purpose and why you want it. Now you need to know the actions that you're going to take in order to get there. So what actions do you need to put in place to achieve this goal? And think of things like related to exercise and diet, but also mindset and self-care and actually making time. So where are you going to fit it in? The excuse that I don't have time is simply an excuse. I know full-time working mums that run their own business and still manage to make time, and who are single mums and still manage to make time to train or do something for themselves. We all have the same amount of hours in a day. You just need to prioritize them. If you choose to stay back at work and you miss out on your gym class, or you are stressed out at work, but yet you're staying back and you're too tired to train, again, that's your own fault. You're choosing work over training, and it's not a bad thing, but you need to accept that you made that choice. You need to also, maybe if that's what you want to choose, then that might be your season of life that you're in right now, and be okay with that. Don't feel guilty. Stop putting pressure on yourself to train at ridiculous times of the night. Just accept this is a busy period for me, and the most exercise I can do is maybe 2 workouts a week and a walk. That's fine, but just accept clearly your progress is going to be slower. You just got to make it work. But then you need to be doing the mindset work. So if you can't be there for yourself to encourage you to pick you up when you need to every single time, who can you trust to be there every single time? You know when you need it. No one's going to be there for you when you need it. No one's going to make you change. You have to actually believe that and feel determined to change. You have to want it for it to actually work. Making time for self-care is something that's a very new principle to me as well, but it makes a difference. Self-care to me involves doing anything that's going to make you happy or make you feel good. Now that could be pampering yourself. It could be treating yourself to a donut and a caramel latte. But it also means doing the work like meal prepping and exercise. It might be doing recovery. It might be having a rest day. It might be doing stretching. It could be having a massage, spending time with your partner. There's a lot of things that come under self-care, and everything is different. Everybody is different. So do what works for you, because the main focus is keeping you feeling good. The more you feel good, the happier your emotions, the more positive your emotions, the more likely you are to take action in a positive way. Now, is there any further support that you need or professional advice that you want to ask? So go and get professional advice, go and seek help, get further support from trainers or nutritionists, or go and get your x-rays, go and book in your appointments. If you've got pain in somewhere, go and get all of that sorted out and actually follow through with it. You need to start taking care of yourself. And this is all a part of it. You can't expect to train if you've got an injury, and you can't expect to get results if you don't know how to. Not only that, like I said, this is a massive learning experience. So I encourage everybody actually to get a trainer or to go and see a nutritionist so that they can learn about it. It's not it's not another expense. It's not a bill that you just pay off. It's an investment. It's something that you put money in and you get more out of it at the end. This is a long-term thing. Everything that you learn from these experiences carry you out for the rest of your life. Think of that. The rest of your life, if you make an investment for a couple of weeks with a trainer or a nutritionist or a naturopath, or you go and get something looked at and you go and work it out, it's an investment. So if you need further support, go and do it. What research will you do to learn more about optimizing your health? This is an action that I also did not do, but you genuinely need to start learning. If you want to lose weight and maintain your weight for the rest of your life, start learning about how to do that. Learn exercises, learn form, learn how to grow muscle, learn about weight loss, learn about the body, learn about gut health. I highly, highly recommend, and I can pop some links to you guys about all of this stuff. I can recommend books and podcasts and things like that if you're interested in learning. You need to really approach this whole journey with an open mind and being willing to learn and gain experiences and take bits and pieces away from anyone who has knowledge. What day will you train, walk, shop, or cook? Like I said, make time for these things, but you need to get clear on that. You need to know how much time it's going to take you and when you can fit it in. And if something comes up and you can't fit it in, how are you going to handle that situation? And then how are you going to stay organized and also make sure that you don't burn out? Preparation is key. Honestly, the more prepared you can be, the less chaotic your life is. And if life does turn to chaos, you're going to feel more stressed, you're going to feel more tired. And that's obviously going to put you in a negative space, and you're likely to make, irrational decisions or just unhealthy choices. So what are you going to do when you start to really burn out? How are you going to approach that? Are you going to have a rest day? Are you going to have a bath? Are you going to spend time with family? Are you going to eat more that day? When I'm really run down, I do things like go for walks, I relax at home, and I eat more, but I eat well. All right, lastly is be prepared. It's not a matter of if something's going to happen, it's when. So you need to be prepared for it. What challenges do you see arising along the way? For example, it could be like a holiday or losing motivation. It could be social events, a late day at work, anything that's going to throw out your schedule and throw you off track. You need to prepare for it, and you're going to be your best judge. You know what distracts you. You know what pulls you off track. You know what's going to stop you and demotivate you. So think of all of the things. If I could give an example from my own life, I know that relaxing at home with my partner is something that really challenges me because it's something I love doing. I love spending time with my family and my partner. So if I've got plans and, they want me to stay home, then I feel really challenged. And how are you going to handle that situation? Well, what I did is I communicated. I simply just told my family, my friends, the people around me, especially my partner. I told them what I was doing, why I was doing it. Like, I have this goal, and I really want your support. I really need you to help me. So if I need to go to the gym, I need the encouragement. I don't want you to try and ask me to stay back and watch Netflix. I need you to encourage me. I need you to support me. I'm going to be doing this for meals now. Help me out, kind of thing. Communication was a massive thing for me, and I wish I did that sooner. It helps a lot because obviously the people that love you should want to support you, and if they don't, then maybe you should reassess the environment that you're in. And then what are your triggers? We all have them. For example, it could be having chocolate in the cupboard, it could be social catch-ups at a delicious bakery, or just FOMO. It could be tiredness. Maybe when you're feeling tired, you just fall off track. It could be your partner asking you to relax and Netflix and chill with snacks. It could be birthdays at work with free cake. What is something that you know is going to trigger you to make a poor decision, and that is not going to be aligned with your goals? For example, if I go out to get a coffee, I always feel triggered to buy some. I love having coffee and a biscuit together. I love having my coffee and something sweet as a snack. And I know that I'll feel triggered for something sweet if I go out to a cafe. And I've just had to learn to manage that now. And a big part of that actually came down to saving money. So money means more to me than eating something sweet. So that's what works for me. That's how I deal with my trigger. I look at my bank account and go, that's not where I want it to be yet. So I need to not spend money on that. I've spent money on food this week. There's food at home. I also focus on filling up too, actually. So I eat before I go out. So that way I don't feel, ravenous or hungry or craving energy and sugar, and I'm not going to want to go and buy food out if I'm feeling really satisfied. Hey, it won't stop me. I'll eat if I'm full, but at least I don't have those intense cravings. So find out what your trigger is. What's something that triggers a craving in you? You know what they are. It could be a person, it could be a place, it could be a thing, it could be food, it could be anything. Figure out your triggers and prepare for them, and also become aware of them. There might be some triggers that you're not aware of yet, but when they arise, just become aware of them and how it makes you feel. Okay, we're almost done. Lastly, I'm going to answer your question as to where do I start? This is something I also recommend all of my clients, and I recommend to anyone who is starting a weight loss journey or just a fitness journey in general. First thing is increase your daily activity. Hopefully by now you understand why. I can't recommend it enough. Just try to be more active. If you can be more active 11 out of the 12 hours, it's going to get you far better results than just working out for 1 hour. Do this by doing your daily walks. If you can, I would actually encourage you to do 10,000 steps a day. Why? Well, completely random number, but it just means you've had an active day and you've been active for majority of the day you've been moving. Focus on active socializing. Do more catch-ups that are active rather than sitting down and drinking. Set reminders on your computer. Big one for anyone sitting at a desk. I had a desk job for years, and I actually struggled to get close to 6,000 steps a day, which was a very sedentary lifestyle, and that was when I was trying to be active. So every half an hour I had a reminder on my computer to tell me to stand up or go for a walk. Even if it meant I just went straight to the bathroom and back, at least I stood up, got the blood flowing. And if I had a bit more time, I would do a quick walk from the front door to the back door. And anything just to get the blood. I could go to the bathroom and do a few squats. When you're sitting down at a desk for 8 hours a day for a period of time, your body and your metabolism slows right down. It doesn't need a whole lot of energy in that moment. So the aim is to not only get the blood flowing, get the muscles moving, it's also good for your back, your hips, it's good for your eyes, it's good for your posture, it's good for stress and your mindset and mental health just to step away. It'll help you focus. There are so many benefits. There's taking a break. I would recommend doing frequent breaks, try and stand at lunch, go out into the sunshine, walk to work or park further away. So typical, like take the stairs, park further away, but you're getting more steps in by doing that, which means you might need to wake up a bit earlier. If you say you're not a morning person or you struggle to wake up, then start improving your sleep and go to bed earlier. You should be able to wake up. If you're getting adequate sleep, if you're eating right and you're exercising, you'll get good sleep. And if you're still tired, then maybe you need to look at actually just getting more hours sleep, because everybody is different. I feel really good having about 8 hours sleep, 8 to 8.5. That's my prime time. 2 is focus on a diet that's just high in nutrients and high in protein. So every meal that you have, where can you add more nutrients? You know that greens and veggies are high in, like especially leafy greens, they are high in nutrients. So how can you add them in to your diet? How can you add protein into every single meal? Avoid your processed foods as much as you can and avoid unnecessary sugar. For example, getting sugar in your coffee or having sugary drinks. If you can cut out sugar, that's going to be a big game changer for your physique. Include protein in every meal. Like I said, aim for 100 grams or more per day. Try and get greens into every meal. Have leafy greens or green vegetables. It's going to make you feel good, trust me. And it's also better to be filling up on protein and healthy greens rather than packet foods and carbs and stuff that are only going to make you feel more tired and lethargic. And then, of course, it's about 2 to 3 liters of water a day, depending on how hot it is, depending on your job. If you're at a desk job, you're obviously not going to be drinking as much water because you're less active. The main way to tell is actually just to have somewhat clear urine. You want clear urine with like a slight tinge of yellow, kind of like a light straw color. So you don't want it to be crystal clear. If your urine is crystal clear, it actually means that you're almost overhydrated and you could be flushing out nutrients. If you drink too much water, you could be flushing things out too much. So believe it or not, you can drink too much water. But yeah, it comes down to the individual. And then lastly, I need you to listen and tune into what your body is telling you. So stop eating foods that you're intolerant to. Not only is it affecting you physically and giving you discomfort, gas, bloating, or cramps, it's actually affecting your energy and it's affecting your brain as well. You're going to feel less happy. It's going to be harder to stay positive or feel good when you have that going on in your gut. Eat foods that make you feel good. So you know that leafy greens, that protein, that fruits and veg are going to make you feel good. If you're someone like me who suffers from IBS, then yeah, there's going to be foods that aren't going to make me feel good. To be honest, any processed grain, so anything that's processed like bread, I still feel far more tired. If I cut out bread completely and I cut out pasta, even gluten-free options, if I cut out processed carbs, anything that's manufactured, if I cut those out, I feel amazing. I have so much more energy and I have so much more clarity. I can think better. I can focus better. I feel happier. My libido goes up. My relationships, just so much more comes with that. So I know that if that's in my diet, I'm going to be a little bit more tired, even if it is gluten-free. But eat what makes you feel good. And learn what your cravings are. If I'm craving something sugary, usually it's because I'm tired, I'm lacking energy, and I'm trying to procrastinate, which means that my body needs nutrients. If I crave sugar because I'm tired, or I crave carbs because I'm tired, it means that my body needs nutrients for energy. It needs a decent sized meal. It needs more because it's telling me that it's craving something for energy. It doesn't mean that I need to go and eat sugar. It's just saying, give me something that gives me energy. And my initial reaction is to crave sugar because sugar gives us that really quick energy, feel good hit. So I know if I crave sugar, I need proper food. And in that case, something like having a nice protein and carbs in it. So it could be like in a simple form, having chicken with rice and veggies, because protein is going to fill me up. It's going to make me feel satisfied for longer. It's going to also give me energy. Carbs like rice are good for my gut health, but they give me energy. And then veggies are high in nutrients. So it's giving my body the vitamins and nutrients that it's needing to function well. So know what your cravings mean. It's not just what you think it is. There's always a reason as like behind what you're doing. I think another example is often when I want something to eat, but I don't know what I want. Now, this is a common misconception for women. One, it's probably because you're hungry. If you can't figure out what you want to eat, it's because you're already hungry and your body is just like, it doesn't even have a craving. It just knows that it needs something. But it could also be that you're dehydrated. So if you're just looking for random things to eat, like you had something to eat, but you want to go and eat something, you're checking the cupboard, you're checking the fridge, but there's nothing really satisfying your needs and nothing really convenient enough, then drink more water and make yourself a proper meal. It's better to fill up on good food, have a bowl of salad with some chicken, have chicken and veggies, have some roast veggies, like have a decent meal. And then know when to break the cycle, because it does pass. So the feeling of constantly craving sugar, the feeling of constantly craving takeaway, it's a craving and it's like a wave. It peaks and you will feel it at its peak and it's going to be powerful. But if you just wait it out, it goes away. It's the same sort of example as when you're busy, you forget you're hungry. It's the same as the craving. If you keep busy, if you go and do something else, it'll pass. As long as you're eating enough and you're getting enough nutrients in your body, those sugar cravings or the craving to go and, buy that croissant or that donut or have that chocolate, it's not necessary. It's just something your body's gotten used to. And the more that you have it, the more you're going to crave it. And the only way is to just simply break the cycle. Okay, well, does anybody have any questions? Was there anything in there that I didn't answer for you? Is there something that you want more clarity on? Any questions at all that you want to bring up? No? Cool. Okay, well, if you guys think of anything, message them to me or send me an email. I would love to know, because I'm constantly trying to, refine and revise these things so I can give the most value to people. So if you do have questions, please tell me. You are not going to be the only one having this question. So if you do that, it's going to be a massive help to me to know any of your questions so I can try and answer them and help people in the future. Thank you everyone for coming tonight, and those who couldn't make it, thank you for registering and watching this workshop. I really hope that you got some value from it. I'm sorry it went for so long. I really wanted to be able to give you as much information as I could, and it's actually such a short amount of time. So if you don't already, check out my social media. There's always things happening. At the moment, what is happening is that I'm looking for take on 1 or 2 more clients. So I have spots that have become available. There are limited spots and times available. So maybe 1 to 2 clients that I'm taking applications for, and there's an application in the link in my bio on my social media pages, or just email me. Also, intakes for my Regain and Rebuild program 2.0 will be starting on the 1st of May, and that is so soon. I'm really excited to do round 2. The first round was, although it was the first round, it was just there was so much impact created from that and those ladies. So I can't wait to do this again. It's an online program. You can also pair it with one-on-one personal training if you wanted to, but it really goes deep on mindset around training. It has 12 weeks of home workouts. They increase over 12 weeks. Every week there's a lesson to learn. So there's online modules that you do every week with homework tasks, like workbooks to complete it. There's weekly check-ins as well. And there's one-on-one coaching calls, or if you did PT, same thing. So it's 12 weeks of coaching. It's one-on-one health coaching. And if you're looking, if you think that you're struggling to get into, a training program, this is ideal, because it's simple workouts at home. You've got me to keep you accountable. You've got check-ins every week, and you've got homework every week that's teaching you about mindset, goals, and a lot of things that we spoke about today, but in more detail. It also includes like a nutrition plan, and we talk about calories and stuff, bits and pieces that are going to help you get results. Plus you have me, you have access to me to directly message me anytime whatsoever for me to just help you with diet, food and exercise and mindset, or anything that you're struggling with. It's one-on-one coaching, and that's what the program is there for. And then also there is a boot camp coming up. So we've got a beach boot camp next Saturday, believe it or not. So Saturday the 7th, right before winter sets in. So fingers crossed the weather's good. But yeah, let's get out onto the beach. It was so much fun last time. So I want to quickly do that again before winter really kicks in, because as winter. As it gets a bit colder, probably won't be on the beach as much. So yeah, if you want, you can register. You can look at all these things that are happening. There's links in my bio, or again, just message me if you have any questions or if you're interested. Yeah, but again, thank you. I appreciate all of you, and I'm excited to see you put this information into action. Enjoy the rest of your night, and I guess I will see you guys around. Good night.